Hey, welcome everybody back to another episode of the Big Doug and Carmi Show, your one-stop shop for all things Commanders. Our conversation series during the offseason continues today with my good buddy Jason Lockenford. JLC, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Good. All offseason, we've been talking with our buddies that we've met over the years. Jason, I met you 3 or 4 years ago because you adopted a dog, and we're both dog lovers, and we talked about dogs for a little bit, and then you came on the show. How many dogs are at the house right now?
We're down to 2. Chopper, aka Choppy. He passed away about a year ago. So we just have Gigi and Meatball now. If it was up to me, we would have a third, but my wife is the boss, and she doesn't think that dynamic would be great right now. But yeah, I'm here for all the dogs. Dogs over people.
Absolutely.
Canines uber Alice.
What are the 2 that you have still?
One is a husky mix, and one is just like a hound mix.
Okay.
So yeah, we're good. How about you guys?
We're off the pit bulls and onto the French bulldogs. I got 2 of those. Cool. One's 23 pounds. She's 2.5. And the baby is one of these fluffy. I don't know if you've seen the fluffy French bulldogs. Google them when you get a chance. Okay. They're interesting. He's 8 months, and I think he's around 40 pounds. He's a big
wow.
The 2 of them, but she is definitely in charge of the group.
Absolutely.
To a fault. And so we're working on that a little bit. And George, you got dogs?
Yeah, I have 2 dogs. I have one pit bull, 65 pounds. They're both rescues, and another one is a hound, about 40 pounds. They're fantastic. Yeah, dogs just kind of brighten your day at the end of a long work day. And there's good, you have to have multiple ones, in my opinion. I think they kind of keep each other company as well. So
no doubt.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Yes.
Every once in a while, when we've had them where one die, we generally have 2 at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And one will pass on, and you'll get that like 6-month window where you're like trying to figure out if you can, pick it up and go again, and you will. But one of the great things I love in that little 6 to 8 month window is I feel like when the dogs are by themselves, you also get to see their personalities shine just a little bit more, which I think is interesting. Because I'm with you, George. I think them having a friend is important, but it's nice to see like their little personalities kind of beam out when they're by themselves and kind of have the floor to themselves. So
I'm with
dogs,
you,
man. A lot easier to talk dogs than football sometimes.
Absolutely.
Jason, I reached out to you because lo and behold, yesterday your name was popping up all over the place with this Ayuk stuff. It's been a weird road on this. So you've covered the NFL for a long time. I'm curious, what your thoughts on kind of how we got here. It feels like there's blame to be passed around in this thing. And yet, I mean, Ayuk gave back $26 million in guarantees, right? I mean, it feels like he's done kind of what he can do on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, this one's been broken since before last season started, to be honest with you. Look, he's clearly an emotional guy. You just even have any interactions with his social media, he's sort of an in the moment, can be sort of reactionary, can wear his emotions on his sleeve and share it with the world. And they've had a lot of negotiations there where, I think some of the agent community would say they felt like, the 49ers were trying to get over on them, or the 49ers. I mean, some of their negotiations have been tricky. Now, I guess some of that is league wide as well, but their locker room, they've had some ish going on there for a few years now, and some of the money side has bled over to the football side. And when there's a lack of trust, right? I think that's really what it comes down to. He clearly didn't really trust their medical team. Like, he didn't totally trust that they had maybe all the time his best interest, short and long term. Like how they were operating.
How much of the blame pie goes where, Jason?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't think they trusted him to show up on time. They didn't trust him to trust their medical people, and he didn't trust their medical people. And I think it just deteriorated from there. Players got to be in the building. I mean, when you're willing to sacrifice paychecks and sacrifice fines and stuff like that, and you kind of go AWOL, well, then you better be a pretty good football player, right? Because if you're Johnny Manziel, that's the end. He's a good enough football player, and really, his economics are going to change. He's going to be incredibly cheap. This is more like one of these situations that we just saw in the quarterback market, right, with Kyler Murray or Tua, where the old team's holding the bag and they gave him all the money and somebody's got him basically 1 year vet minimum. And then you see where it goes. I don't think there's going to be a long-term commitment either way. And I really think, he at this point just needs to get somewhere where he can get on a football field and show what he can do. So because of that sort of whole backdrop, people in this league figure you probably need to know him a little bit before you do this. And especially if you do it now when everybody's about to go to the beach for a month, right? And then they come back and it's get ready for camp. Just that whole getting to know you part and all that, and like come to our building for a couple of days. Like, the trainers aren't there, the doctors aren't there. I mean, are you gonna make people go there for Brandon Ayuk? So I think if he wants to get in camp, and if I'm him and I want to start making real money again in the NFL, then I want to get this team as soon as, like, it's part of the reason he was putting that stuff on social media. He's like, all right, you mess with me long enough. Cut me so I can go get whatever I can get somewhere else and be done with me. And that'll happen. And that'll happen soon enough. And if you're him, you probably want to hit the ground running. And that means maybe you're around some people who, you have some level of trust with from before, who at least know you a little bit and who've seen you at your best up close, right? They've seen what that looked like in the building through the week, not just on game day, good, bad, indifferent.
Jason, quick follow-up to that real quick. We're, Doug and I are obviously immersed in here being in DC, and we have some attachment to Brandon Ayuk. I'm curious from a national perspective and who you're talking to, how is this perceived like league-wide? Like, do the 49ers, are they perceived as being, potentially petty for holding on to Brandon Ayuk? Are these videos that are being put out by Brandon Ayuk, are they turning off agents and teams and kind of perceiving a negative light? Like, what are you hearing? What are your thoughts?
I don't think anybody's winning. I don't think it looks good on anybody
for sure.
At this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really kind of rubbed it in. I mean, they could have done something, during OTAs or whatever. But like we're kind of at the point now where, like, okay, you can be petty and you can make your point, and he made his point, but like they don't want him in their building, and he doesn't want to be in their building, and there's no reason for him to ever be in their building again. And they canceled their mini camp too, so that kind of negated some of this will he, won't he, and all that. When they canceled mini camp, then there was their entire off season turned out to be voluntary. Right? There was no mandatory. I think he's gone in the next couple of weeks. I don't think they drag it.
Are you frozen? That's him.
I just see him as frozen right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting, and we'll ask him once he jumps back on.
Jason. He's back.
Jason, if this was another team, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, right, fairly well. If this was another team, if he was putting the Steelers stuff on his website instead of the Commander stuff, do you think this is the same issue? Like, is this Kyle being petty, or is this just organizational things?
I think this is personal between them and the player. I don't think they care where he wants to go, whether it was Jacksonville or Washington, or
does Washington seem to be the front runner?
Because his dad used to be. I don't think the Raiders, because his dad got a bad run there. I don't think any of that would matter. One way or the other. I just think it's like he quit on us. He didn't show us proper levels of professionalism. He didn't hold up his end of the bargain, and so get through the CBA and as laid out in this contract. And so we can play it by the letter of the law, you know what I mean? And we can string it out. But again, like all that's cute until it's not. And he's never going to be in their building again in Santa Clara. And I think he knows that, and his representation knows that. And I think they know that.
So quick follow-up to that, Jason. I think the narrative that I'm hearing, from the 49ers organization in a national perspective is that he has to report in order to trigger that non-report. I guess technically he's on the non-report list, so they can kind of hide him and stash him off of the roster. And the trigger would be for him to come into camp. I guess with mini camp gone, that option is gone. Now it's fully voluntary. I guess, do you have a perceived timeline? Do you think when this would happen? Like from what I'm gathering, the 49ers can wait all the way up to August 31st to potentially let him go. Do you think that's going to potentially happen, or do you think it's going to be way before that, in your opinion?
No, I I think I don't think they're ever answering questions about him again. You know what I mean? I don't think Kyle Hamilton. I don't think Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Hamilton's definitely not going to be asking any questions.
Yeah, it's
Because I don't think he's
actually
coming to
right
Baltimore.
now.
I mean,
Yeah,
unless he came to Baltimore, but that would surprise me.
Yeah.
I don't think Kyle Shanahan ever wants to like deal with this again. You know, like I can't imagine them dragging it into training camp, or even calling his bluff and making him show up. Like, I don't think we're getting there. Like I think he's out of their lives and they're out of his life. Well before we're getting to exhibition games or anything like that.
Adam Peters knows him. Obviously, Jaden Daniels knows him. I mean, or is it wishful thinking, or do you believe that Commanders are in the front of the clubhouse here?
I don't think there's a lot of people teeing off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're sitting there waiting for their what do they call it, the shotgun time or whatever. Or whatever they call the starter gives you your time. I don't know exactly how all that works, but yeah, I don't think he's got, you know, people clamoring for him at this point in time.
He hasn't played in a couple of years, and I think at least
7 games, I think, in the last 2 years.
Right. And I mean, in the Commanders fan land, you know, it's like, get Ayuk and let's go, you know, win a chip. I mean, how far does he move the needle in that somewhat depleted wide receiver room?
Well, at first he'd have to, you know, part of the reason why, again, I don't think this is a robust market is he's got to. This is a prove it year. He's got to prove that he can stay healthy. He's got to prove he can stay out of trouble. He's got to prove he cannot be an issue in the locker room. He's got to prove he cannot be an issue on social media or, you know, on the Capitol Beltway or I-95 or 97 or whatever, 66. So I don't think this is, you know, going to be a move that sways the balance of power to any degree. I think you're looking for a guy. Can he create some splash plays for us? Like, can he get himself healthy? Can he be available? And then whether decoy or not, you know, can he help our downfield attack? Can he latch onto some balls that travel 30 plus air yards downfield? And I think, you know, in that stylized role, and then you build him up through the course of the year. And if he's more than that, then great.
If you're
I think it's more of a cherry on top than it is.
Okay.
I can see
you
that.
know,
Jason, if you're Adam Peters and you could only choose one, you prefer Ayuk or Diggs?
Well, I mean, if your medical people feel like Ayuk is going to be able to be Ayuk, then I would maybe lean to that rather than Diggs. So I think we know, like, he's going to be a really reliable possession guy, but that's going to be like high traffic, right? That's going to be boxing people out. Like, he's going to get his 1,000 yards, but it's going to take a whole bunch of 8-yard receptions to get there. You know, I just don't think, you know, I think if Ayuk shows he can still move, then that's going to force people to think a little differently about how they defend you. And I would imagine that they're looking for ways to unlock things more downfield and, you know, not be sort of scary Terry or bust.
It's been like a tale of two cities for the Commanders the last 2 years. You know, it's like that rookie year was something we really hadn't even seen before. Jaden Daniels was doing incredible things. Last year with the injuries, I think, who told us that he didn't even play back-to-back games, right? I mean, that thing still just amazes me. They didn't start and finish 2 games in a row. Have they done enough, Jason, to get back to some of that magic from the first year and be competitive within the NFC East?
I mean, I think they could be competitive within the NFC East. Do I think they're going to get where they got a couple years ago and compete for a Super Bowl? No. I actually like Dallas for the first time in forever. Like, I feel like Dallas isn't being overhyped. Like, I feel like it's the first time in forever where people aren't trying to cram the Dallas Cowboys down your throat. There's been no offseason drama. There's been no holdouts. There's been no hold-ins. There's been no saying stupid stuff about Dak, right? Like, the head coach showed last year he can fend for himself better than a lot of people thought. There's continuity there in ways that there's not continuity in Philadelphia, where they had to chuck another coordinator aside. Certainly, there's no continuity in Washington. Washington, it seems to me, they kept the figurehead and then put all different people around him. Like, I don't know that dynamic works real well. Like, I've never seen that dynamic work real well. Like, usually if you're firing that many people, you're probably saying, maybe the walk around head coach needs to go too. You know what I mean? Like, because you didn't really trust him to even totally fix the defense, right? So like you're changing the whole infrastructure around him. So it tells me you're keeping like him, as that leader of men and that alpha type looking guy and that CEO, but you didn't trust the brain trust at all that he instilled. So you went and got a new one for him to prop him up for another year to see if it works. That usually doesn't work. I don't think that's going to work.
I was going to ask, I'll follow up with that question. It's a great question or a great comment. So obviously we followed up Ron Rivera. It's kind of more of a culture center, kind of a culture
walk around guy.
And then they brought someone, Dan Quinn is a culture setter. He brings the team together, all about that brotherhood. We keep hearing that here in DC. He replaced that with two different coordinators. I guess, do you have a question of is this seat warm in your opinion? And I guess the other question would be, okay, I want to hear about that. And I guess the other question would be, like, how do you, I mean, you've been around Washington for a long time now. We've had the previous regime and Dan Snyder, so on and so forth. Is a team's perspective and stability changed over the years, in your opinion, as well?
Is it more stable now than it's been before? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're
asking? Absolutely. Yeah. Part one.
I'm sorry, I got like 5 people in this house, and even though I'm supposed to be on this Ethernet, I never understand what the heck's happening here.
No, you're good.
But too many people doing too many things. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not Dan Snyder anymore, so it's a step in the right direction. But this owner hasn't proven anything. I mean, has he? You tell me. I mean, what has Adam Peters proven? I mean, they had a season, and it was amazing. And then they look like they might be the poster boys for regression, except a lot of people are telling me the quarterback's so damn good they won't regress. And then the quarterback isn't really protected great. And right, I don't know that Kingsbury's a master in pass pro. And and it's football, so ish happens. But like, so he goes down and the whole thing crumbles and everybody's gone except for the head coach. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember if we talked about it or not. I think we probably did. I really hated their offseason last year. I thought it was a George Allen 1970. Let's keep everybody, the over the hill gang. Like, no, you got they helped you get to a point. Now you get younger, better, more expensive to replace them and upgrade. And that's how you keep pace. But it wasn't that. And then the second year they blow out all the coaches except for the head coach, which just tells me, I don't know, 10 teams changed, and maybe they were like, well, we don't want, like, that's a lot. Like, we don't want to, we don't want to, like, a third of the league. Maybe we hedge our bets, but then I don't see that working. So, like, I don't think it's going to be last year, and I don't think it's going to be a disaster, but, like, I think the Eagles are still going to be pretty good, and I think Dallas is a legitimate playoff team. And so, like, am I certain that 3 teams are coming out of that division? And the Giants are going to be respectable. Like, the Giants, it's not a bleep show anymore. So, I think they're like most of the league. They're in that middle tier. And if you stay super healthy and everything goes your way, then maybe you pop up like Jacksonville did last year. Or you pop up like Washington did the year before that. Or you pop up like Houston did the year before that. Right. And if not, then you're picking between like, I don't know, the mid-teens to the low 20s. And you're hiring and somebody else is coaching the team. Like, I think that's kind of where they are.
What would Dan Quinn have to do in order to save his job, in your opinion? Then, I guess, Jason, how warm do you think that seat is? Is a 500, 500 record good enough to protect him for next year? What are your thoughts?
If you fired his whole staff, then you can't tell me they didn't think about firing him. Like, how could you logically tell me there's a world that exists where Harris and Peters and other consultants are having private consultations and they're not sitting there like thinking, well, man, if we don't love the offensive staff and we don't love the defensive staff and we don't love his defense and we don't need him calling every defensive play and we don't think he's got like all the super macro level answers to fix that. They're not going to the owner saying, oh, yeah, and our personnel really suck. Like, we really crapped the bed last offseason. It's not how it works. So, like, of course, like, this is how it works. Like, this is what people do, and this is job preservation, and this is him, not me. But like, there's no way that as they're like, well, he's got to go, and he's got to go, and he's got to go, and we're going to have say in who comes in to replace him, that they didn't at least think about, is this the marketplace just to do it? I think Sean McDermott's the next head coach of the Washington Commanders.
Interesting. Okay.
That
would be three defensive head coaches in a league that tells you, screams at you, hire offensive head coaches.
Does it? Who just won the Super Bowl?
Yeah. I guess
why didn't Baltimore throw out Harbaugh to get Jesse Minter? Because they think he's Mike McDonald.
Sure.
I mean, this guy went to the playoffs. Did he win a playoff game 5 straight years? Dan Quinn's never done that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he took the Falcons to the Super Bowl, but I guess that's neither here nor there. But
he did.
For the offense, Jason, it's interesting. I agree with most of what you said there. I think the difference is they had set that thing up for a succession plan, at least on offense. They, for whatever reason, knew Cliff wasn't going to be there very long. And I think they had thought the next move would be Tavita Pritchard would step up in, and when he was gone, of course, Tavita leaves for the Stanford job. Good on him. So it feels like the David Blau move maybe was a year or two early, but we in Washington certainly understand the danger of waiting
You've
1 or
lost a lot
2
of
years
people.
and then you lose McVays and O'Connell type guys.
Building. I don't hate that move, and I've heard good things, and I think it's interesting. How good do we think they are going to be defensively?
That's
the interesting thing, right? Because it's a totally different defense for sure. Yeah.
Like, how quick does that take? How quick does that hold? Like, I don't know.
What does it say about Dan Quinn that he's willing to bring in a guy that is running a totally different defense that said, hey, what we did wasn't working. We got to get something that works.
I think it says they told him, here's the new reality if you want to be here. We're picking all these coaches. They're going to run the offense and defense that we want, and you be the best walk-around guy you could be, and you keep it all together, and you subjugate yourself for the collective, and we see how this goes.
It's going to be an interesting year. I think that, in my personal opinion, I think Josh Harris is pretty loyal. Maybe you can tell me differently, Jason, but I think he's pretty loyal. And I think Adam Peters, they established something with Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I think they're going to try to keep him. I think a complete washout, if they get like 4-13, something really poor that way, I think Dan Quinn is really on the hot seat. I think a mediocre year, because I think, if I remember correctly, Josh Harris oversaw the Philadelphia 76ers, and what's his name? Doc Rivers was like a mediocre, pretty solid playoff coach for many, many years, and stuck with him maybe a year or two too late. Yeah. So I think Dan Quinn probably has next year at the very, very least. I think he should be okay unless there's a complete washout. I don't know, Doug, but David Blau is pretty interesting. I would like to see an offensive coach eventually take over. But you're right. Things have changed with Mike McDonald and the Seattle Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. I think it kind of changes the narrative league-wide, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens.
You mentioned Minter, Jason. I'm curious. Were you surprised that Harbaugh didn't take a year off before taking the Giants job, or was that like a job that he loves and was all pumped about it? And are you surprised that the GM stayed? Usually it's like head coach, GM out, right?
Yeah, very surprised. A lot of people surprised. Now he gets an extension. How many more real years is it? How many of those years are team options? Like, what's the net sunk cost if they whack him a year from now? I'm guessing they're protected. But I'm surprised he's stayed in any capacity after the draft. No, I mean, when there's 10 openings and they all want to talk to you and they all will give you the job and you get to decide if you want it or not. Like the interview process is, here's why, we need you and will you please do it? Not you sell us on why you should be here. Then you might as well. And you feel energized, and like whoever got that first real audience with him, if it was someplace he wanted to be and they gave him the blank check, I think it was going to happen. Had that been Atlanta in front of New York, he might have gone to Atlanta. I mean, there were a couple that he was, felt like made the most sense, and the Giants were one of them. And and he gets to, Joe Shane ends up staying, but it's John Harbaugh's building, and it's John Harbaugh's building in a way that Owings Mills never was. Like, it's not I'll just say the ghost of Ozzie, but I mean, it's Ozzie in the building a lot of times. It's not just the ghost of Ozzie. It's also Ozzie when he's there, and Ozzie having the relationship with the owner, and Ozzie really wanting this DaCosta thing to work, because Ozzie doesn't really have, it's like Bill Belichick. You look at the family tree and you're like, this guy's such a genius. Where are all the roots off that personnel family tree? Like maybe it'll be DeCosta. I wouldn't bank on it. Like maybe it's Joe Ortiz with the Chargers, maybe. But like Ozzie did it for a long time. There's no personnel family tree. So yeah, he's got none of that there. He's got to deal with none of that. He comes in, he deals, he talks to the owner directly. He decides if he wants to keep Joe Shane. Like it. So no, I think it checked a lot of boxes for him.
Not necessarily in pedigree, but like I understand what you're saying about, hey, you get your choice of these jobs and why, wouldn't you take one? And then you got guys like Mike McDaniel who decided to take a year off and go, I don't know, maybe learn something from Harbaugh. Say it again.
He wasn't getting a head coaching job.
He was not getting a head coaching job. Okay.
No. No. I mean, maybe Cleveland. Like, I think Cleveland would have given it to him, but it ended really ugly with him in Cleveland. Like, NBAs and all, like, it was bad. It was bad. Like, I don't see him working for Jimmy Haslam. You know what I mean? So, like, that one, I mean, like, would they have done it? Maybe, but like, so no, I think he did the exact smart. I think Chargers offense is going to be off the chain. I think
that'd be really good.
I think he did exactly what he should do. And I don't think he's a head coach, and I'm not sure a lot of people think he's a head coach. But if he does what I think he's going to do there, and 6 more of these open up, then maybe he does get a quick turnaround.
Yeah. Some people are better offensive coordinators than coaches. I think Jay Gruden's one of those guys as well. He has the offensive mind, but maybe doesn't necessarily lead men and command the room right there. So I agree with that. Jason, to that end, just kind of give me the temperature of Baltimore, because I feel like you're much more attuned than I am. I guess, John Harbaugh was a huge figure. He's there for many, many years in Baltimore. I guess if you don't mind touching on the potential, a little bit of the fallout of what happened there, because I wasn't too familiar with it. And what's it like transitioning to Minter right now? What's the temperature? Is it optimistic there? Is it a big cultural change in Baltimore? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, he's a product of the Harbaugh brothers, so it's detached in that he's at a completely different point in his career and his life than them. But he's also, the way he conducts himself and a lot of the things he believes in, there's enough of that sort of matching ethos to what DeCosta and those guys are already familiar with Harbaugh. Unlike Harbaugh, he's a specialist on one side of the ball, and he's proven to be a mastermind at it, and he's proven to be a mastermind at it running a defense that's essentially the same as McDonald, which they had before he went to Seattle, right? Which was a derivation, a less balls out version of Wink, less blitz heavy, less man version of Wink Martindale's defense. And you can sort of take it back through time. But like what McDonald's doing is at the vanguard of, like, McDonald's got to match wits with McVay a couple times a year, and he keeps beating him, right? And that's the defense, that's the offense everybody wants to stop or slow down. Absolutely. Because he's sending his whole family tree out into the world. They're hiring everybody he's ever worked with, and they're all trying to run a version of Sean McVay's offense. So it makes all the sense in the world. Harbaugh, it ran its course. I mean, come on, whatever. It was almost 20 years.
Yeah,
like, it just starts.
That's unheard of in the NFL.
Like, they wanted him to fire all his coach. It's like the Dan Quinn thing. Well, the billionaire's like, look, man, I still think I don't think you've lost your fastball, but these staffs just haven't been good enough. Oh, really? I'm not firing Todd Monken. I'm not firing. Like, I think maybe Zach Orr, like, okay, that was such a disaster on defense. But, like, I'm not starting over with a whole new staff. Oh, and your guys, the personnel guys, are going to have more say in that staff because they're convincing you that the reason your draft picks aren't developing is because me and my staff don't know what we're doing. Not because they've got the wrong people. Not because they didn't give me any pass rushers. It's because I couldn't develop Oweh. Or you guys. But what happened when we traded him to the Chargers? Oh, he was dominant. And who was that? Jesse Minter. So it's very sort of somewhat incestuous, but just far enough removed that I get it. It was going to happen. Like, there was nobody else they were going to hire. Like, this was going to be the next coach of the Baltimore Ravens if the billionaire decided, I'm done paying, John $16 million a year to fall short of expectations, which has been the case the last couple of years. Yeah, I think the defense will be markedly better. I think the offense is going to be. I have some questions about the offensive side of the ball, and they've got a 30-year-old offensive coordinator who's never called a play, never put a playbook together of his own, doesn't have his own offense. Spent most of his career with Sean Payton. You can study the Sean Payton family tree. It's not sprouting off play callers like you think it would. Like Joe Lombardi was supposed to be a thing. Joe Lombardi couldn't do anything with peak Stafford and peak Herbert. Like Carmichael Jr. was supposed to be a thing. He's back with Sean Payton. Like all these guys. Johnny Morton. What happened to Johnny Morton halfway through the season in Detroit? Dan Campbell said, let me try to call plays. Now, Dan Campbell's a Sean Payton guy, but Dan Campbell was the alpha leader of men. Dan Campbell didn't move up the ranks as a play caller and a schemer. He was the tone setter, right? And then Dan Campbell, he couldn't do it either. Like, Joe Brady might be able to do it in Buffalo. Like, that would be a guy who breaks through. Like, I think this Davis Webb kid, who Sean is now ceding those duties to in Denver, like, he's obviously finally given up play calling for somebody. He must think Webb's pretty good. But, like, I just can't anoint Declan Doyle because he spent a year with Ben Johnson, and he was with Sean before that.
Does Baltimore still have a championship aspirations? Like, they were, like, premier top of the league for many, many years. And then Derrick Henry obviously was a generational running back. He's 32 this year as well. Is there any concern about him potentially falling off? I think he's fantastic. I love he's one of my favorite running backs to watch. I'm just kind of curious what the thoughts are in Baltimore.
I mean, Vegas has their win total as high. It was right there with the Rams, and then the Rams did the Garrett thing, and now the Rams are in their own stratosphere. But I mean, if you look at their odds to win the division, their odds to go to the playoffs, their odds to win the most regular season games, their odds to win the Super Bowl, they're considered to be an elite contender. I think they'll fall short of that. I think they'll be a good team. I don't think they're going to be necessarily a great team or one of the final four teams standing or anything like that. Derrick Henry. I mean, I've run the data on every age 32 running back in the NFL since the merger in 1970. The all-time age 32 running back leader is Walter Payton, and it took him over 300 carries to do it, but he got to 1,300 yards. Like this, the guy's been running for 1,600 a year. This guy's been running for 5.5 a carry. In the history of the NFL, since the merger, two age 32 running backs have averaged 4.5 a carry or more. Sweetness that year at 4.5, and then Ricky Williams in his age 32 season, which wasn't really an age 32 season because he spent a year in the CFL and then basically 2.5 years suspended from the NFL. He's got 1,000 fewer carries in his age 32 season going in than Derrick Henry. And he averaged 4.7 a carry. But like, I think there's been 4,000-yard rushers in age 32 in the history of the NFL. 4 or 5, Otis Anderson. Like it hasn't, so like Father Time is undefeated. Like this cat's never run 300 times in a season 3 straight years in his career. He's done it the last 2. I would not try to have him do that for the first time this year. I think there's going to have to be some recalibrations. And this offense was bad in every way, shape, and form last year. It was bad in the red zone. It was bad in goal to go. It was bad in short yardage. It was bad holding fourth quarter leads. Like it was bad all the way around.
Was that a Todd Monken problem?
I don't have a hard time thinking that Todd Monken got stupid in his third year.
Right.
I mean, the first year he gets a new system installed with Lamar faster than anybody thought, and the guy wins an MVP. The second year, he actually plays way better, but they decide it's Josh Allen's turn. So, like, just look at Lamar Jackson versus playoff teams that year and Josh Allen versus playoff teams. One guy was so far ahead of everybody else against them, and the other guy was a league average at best quarterback against good opponents. And then year 3, the offensive line stunk. Lamar got hurt. Nobody could win downfield except for Zay Flowers in the pass game. I mean, it was a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, I know him from his time in Georgia. I'm a huge Georgia fan. So
I'm a big Todd Monken guy.
I'm a big Todd. How do you think he'll do in Cleveland?
It's Cleveland. I mean, come on.
I know.
How's he going to? I mean, he's making a lot of money. I'm happy for him. He gets to be a head coach for the first time. If they leave him alone and let him play Shedeur Sanders, I think it'd at least be interesting. But the other guy, I mean, it's just going to be 200 and the last $45 million chunk of $230 million. I can't think that Jimmy Haslam doesn't want him to have to earn that. So, and I think he's gone mentally, physically, spiritually. I think he's done. Like I don't think there's. I think he'd rather stand there and hold a clipboard. So that's tough. That's a tough way to coach your team.
It is tough.
Jason, how do you see the AFC North shaking out? Because it's been
I think it's the Bengals.
The Bengals look interesting.
I like the Bengals.
Okay. Why do you say that? They're all fans. Joe Burrow bounce back.
I think they've got. I mean, they go 9 or 10 deep on the D line now. They transformed that. The Dexter Lawrence thing is massive. I don't love their linebackers, but I think the other two levels of the defense are at a level they haven't been since their Super Bowl year. I mean, they're scoring 35 points and losing football games. I just don't think that's happening anymore. One of these years that they don't just piss away September, they start the year with 7 straight 1 o'clock games. Like that's like when Burrow's done his best work. Burrow is totally mentally bought in now. Like they blew his mind when they did the Dexter Lawrence thing. Like you traded a 10th overall pick, free money to go pay a 30-year-old $30 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So you do want it. Like you guys do want it. Like I want it. There's no Trey Hendrickson in the building. Like, is he going to show up? Isn't he? Is it a hold in? Is it all like they've had much like Dallas, none of the contract BS. Like the quarterback's healthy. So and it's going to come down to them and the Ravens. And I like this way the schedule sets up for those two games better for Cincinnati. Those two head-to-head games better for Cincinnati than I do for the Ravens. So I give Cincinnati the lean.
Is NFC West, is that the best division in football?
Yeah.
Is it close?
NFC West or AFC West? Like I think the Chiefs are back. So and I think the Chargers, I just thought like losing Minter's gonna hurt, but like they know how to run that defense. And I think that offense is going to be unlocked in a very different way. Than we've seen. I mean, going from Greg Roman to Mike McDaniel, like come on, with the pieces they have there, and they add a speed receiver, they add a speed back in Keaton Mitchell. Like they get those two. If the tackles stay healthy, that's massive. Like and then Denver's defense is legit. Like I mean, Sean's good for 10 wins. So I mean, I think those two divisions are similar.
Jason, my last question for you. I'm jealous of the wide receivers that the Ravens added during the draft. I wanted Washington to add, Jacoby Lane, I thought, was a really interesting prospect. Elijah Surratt's a really interesting prospect as well. Have you heard any good things about them during training camp? How are they looking?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really do the whole mini camp, OTA deal. Like, just
that's my shorts. Yeah, shorts Olympics.
Yeah. Like, I think Surratt will probably get more targets. I think Surratt will show up more on early downs. I think Lane is somebody who, again, I mentioned the red zone. They were 27th in red zone. They don't have big targets. This kid excels at catching fades in the back of the end zone. Like I think he's going to be a real red zone target. They're going to find ways. Because look, Zay Flowers is great. Zay Flowers does a lot of things. Zay Flowers is as tall as me. Like Zay Flowers is like 35th in wide receiver end zone targets since he came into the league. Like it is what it is. You're not hitting pay dirt with him. Mark Andrews can't move anymore. They kept him around because he's their boy, but like they're paying him $13 million a year. God knows why, but like he's not winning. You got young tight ends who are going to have a lot on their plate, like Rashad Bateman. So I think these guys are going to have opportunities. I think it's going to be more splash plays with Lane, and it's going to be more doing dirty work. Like Surratt, we trust you in traffic right away. Like if you don't catch it, nobody catches it, kind of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, their personnel on offense they got a lot they better figure out at training camp.
Jason, I saw pieces of the Buck Showalter interview. That was a good one on you. My wife's an O's fan, so we caught a bunch of it. So good on you, buddy. It was good.
Thank you very much. If there are any O's fans out there, you can check me out pretty much every day. Well, every single day on Orioles on SI. And if you go to YouTube / Big Play Baltimore, Big Play is the production company I'm working with. So at Big Play Baltimore, a lot of O's content coming all through the summer. That is not just. I know this guy looks, Flocky looks like a Raven, but we do a lot of O's, and especially now in the dog days of the NFL.
Jason, how often do you get out there? Kimmy Yards is gorgeous. It's one of the most beautiful parks in the entire MLB.
A decent amount. I think my kids have been to more games than I have this year. I've been to 4. I think, all the minor league affiliates are here, kind of like the Nats. So we get to a decent amount of those. Once travel baseball season ends, then I actually get like a little bit of flexibility back in my life, especially on the weekends. They're not in a good way. The Nats play a far more and like they have their
fun.
but the Nats play a far more enjoyable version of baseball, and their young players are doing so much better than. I say young, I mean Adley Rutschman's 28 years old, but
we just gotta pay them.
The
That's
Nats
all.
are doing
them walk. Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
We just have to pay our players before they walk away. That's the only problem.
Well,
That's the issue in DC.
Same thing here.
Yeah.
Nah, I think they're going to trade Abrams because I just think they always were going to trade Abrams.
Yeah, I think
you got to sign James Wood though.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a local guy. He's from he went to Sherwood High School, or he should be like Albany, Maryland. So you should keep him as like local product. I think so. I hope so.
Yeah. he's a thing.
He's a beast.
Sitting on some tickets for him to leave. I don't even want to say it because that'll put a jinx on it.
Don't put it on
I'm a big James Wood. We saw him play a lot in the minors. Great kid. He was super shy. He was so introverted. I was like, man, if he ever sort of comes into his own, look out. And it's funny. I was at a fundraiser here in Baltimore, Baltimore Urban Baseball Academy, which is just a whole. They do amazing stuff in Southeast Baltimore, Southwest Baltimore, I should say, like exposing kids to it. They got TrackMan and all this stuff. It's like going to Pipeline, and all the kids in the neighborhood can go in for free and use it whenever they want. So James Wood was there for a fundraiser for them. And watching him just interact and mingle with people, and he was so comfortable in his own skin. I got right on some of those apps. I was like, "Ooh, I think the first half of last year is coming back. I'm not worried about second half James Wood. Like he looks thicker, and he looks like he's a man now, and he's arrived, and he's a cool.
He got some power behind him for sure.
I think he's hitting 50 bombs.
Yeah, it's coming. I love it.
40% there.
Yeah. It's crushing it, man. It's been a lot of fun to watch him.
Jason, thank you, my man. Scratch a couple of dog ears for us, and we'll do this again once we get a little closer to the season.
Here is where they're big on this area right here.
There you
go. Hey, anytime. Enjoy the off season, and we'll see. Sean McDermott, you can't go get that ticket anywhere.
You said it here first, man. We got you on tape now. It'll be interesting.
William and Mary, right down the road. Might be willing to go with some of those offensive coaches if they look like they're okay on that side of the ball. You don't want to throw anything else at the quarterback, right? You want to keep that together.
Consistency makes sense. I see the vision.
We'll see.
All right.
You're the best, buddy. Appreciate you.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks, man.